what was that like, the transition from the Northeast to the Burbs?
It was extreme big. It was extreme culture shock at first. I mean, I went,
Yeah.
never really have seen a farm growing up outside of like a field trip to like, oh, wow, there's farms all over the place. And not to say like it was very rural. It was still pretty suburb. It's way more populated even now. But you went from bars on your window and no grass on your schoolyard to basically the most beautiful school you'd ever seen with like 3 baseball fields, 2 different playgrounds. It's like, where the hell am I? Like, it's like I'm not in Kansas anymore. Apparently, it was unbelievable. It's like, whoa, Dad, like when'd you get rich? Like, what the hell?
You're like, Dad, did we hit the lottery? And
No,
nobody
and he's
told
like,
me?
believe me, pal, we're doing okay, but we're barely scraping by to be here. I'm like, all right, fine. He's like, you guys are gonna have a better life, and it's like, kudos to you for doing that. So
yeah,
there's so much space in between all the buildings.
It's
It's nuts.
Yeah, they're like, wait, we have more than just an alley we can play in. This is great.
Why aren't the houses touching each other?
Yeah, I went from Northeast, which is nothing but row homes, to like, wow, look at this big house I'm in, and no, it's not connected to anything except the garage.
I didn't even know you could do that. I thought you had to touch other houses.
Yeah,
it
was.
And then you went to Doyle's.
But I'm very glad we moved because it was a beautiful area to grow up in, and go to high school and all that, and then I did think I got a good education, and thankfully stayed out of drugs and things like that, which my father was worried about when we were still in the city if we had stayed. But
yeah, it would have been, it would have been nothing but trouble. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just that maybe I'm not
that you can't, not that you of course can't stay out of trouble. You can, but like his issues as a youngster, and so he wanted me to try and avoid that as much as he could.
Dude, hey, that's great parenting, man. That's what that is. That's great parenting. Good for him, man. That's awesome. But would you then like were you like near like Doylestown, like that area at all?
I'm a little south of there, so if you know where Sesame Place is, I'm like 10-15 minutes from there is where I can.
Oh, cool. That's a great area.
And I actually live even closer to Sesame Place now. So
nice.
It's like we were over by like the Chamonix Oxford Valley Mall. It's like a 15-minute drive to each of those from where
I know. Oh, I know exactly where at. Nice. Okay. So you move out to the burbs, right? And then like you start to get like, later into your elementary school years and middle school, stuff like that. Plus, too, your dad's not like he's thinking you, obviously, but you have 2 younger sisters, too.
Of course, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So you don't want any, you're trying to get them out as well. So do you remember the first job you ever had?
My first real job was a camp counselor at a summer camp. And I held that
camp
8 summers in a row. Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, dude, that's not what camp? Was it like
it was our local township camp, Northampton Township. It was pretty fun. It was a lot of fun. And I actually was a camp counselor with a number of people like I knew, like growing up, like friends and stuff, and like I went to camp with when I was there when I was a youngster, and it was awesome. I mean, to get paid to basically play dodgeball and like ball and like basically all that shit. It was awesome.
Was it a day camp or an overnight camp?
No, it was a day camp. I don't think I could have done
even better.
Yeah, at least you get to go. Yeah, you get.
And most of the summers, I would get like the older boys because they knew I could handle them. So I'm having like 11, 12.
Just go play sports all day.
All they want to do is play sports and make fun of shit and curse, and talk about boobies, and it's just like
we still do that now.
Exactly. It's just boys being boys. So
me
and my one friend were like they're that group. Like every year our director gave us like the same group. So we just have the kids and they'd always be like, oh yeah, we got Pat this year. It's like, all right, yeah, we're gonna have some fun. We don't have to shit, just don't you ever tell me about anything. Like there was days it's Philly Madison. It's like, all right, kids versus counselors dodgeball. Let's go. It's like,
that's the best. I mean, plus, too, like, you're kind of introducing them like, hey, guys, this is what you're going to be known as locker room talk. And what happens in locker room talk stays in locker room talk. And you need to learn that now, or you're not going to be allowed in locker room talk. Tell you right now. That's just how it goes. I love that, though. That's the best.
Plus, I mean, we treated everyone with respect. The kids were safe. Right. They were fine. Like, they're kids.
Yeah.
They're supposed to have fun at camp.
But, dude, also, that's, like, what they need. Like, they need that from older boys. Like, they need older boys to coach them up. Because it's like, you can get so much from an older brother, but a lot of it's going to be beatings. Whereas, like, you need, like, an older role model to be like, oh, man, Pat's cool. Like, that's cool,
It's okay. Instead of you're gay.
Yeah. Like, nice try instead of, you're a
because at that age too, you stop giving a shit what your parents say. You're like, yeah, whatever.
Okay.
You peg a kid a little too hard and he starts tearing up and you're like,
oh yeah, we had plenty of that. It's like, come on, bud, let's go get a popsicle.
Yeah.
I got one of my cousins like kids, and it was one of those like Fisher Fisher Price basketballs, but it was a little flat, and we were running around in a circle in the basement, and I got him real good, like right in the kidney. He goes, "I'm just a little kid." He was crying. I was like, "Oh, my bad, buddy." I was like, "It's war.
Dude.
War's hell, my man. I'm sorry."
Yeah, you got to learn at some point. Like, but that's a good lesson learned. There's always gonna be someone bigger than you, kid. Like,
But like, you know what I mean? If that's your
travels
brother,
wisely, yeah.
just like, shut up. And I'm like, "Hey, I'm sorry, bud. I love you." Pick him up. Be nice to him.
Dude, I mean, I will say this though. One of the good things about like the scenario of like having older camp counselors and then a group of like 11, 12-year-olds, right? Like you also like you taught them to not want to be like the pansy. You know what I mean? Like, dude, if you get like rub some dirt on it, let's keep going. Like, don't be the kid crying all the time. Don't be the, you know what I mean? Like, get out here, have fun. You
Not
can
that
take
I'm like super macho, but it's like, guys, if you ain't bleeding or it ain't broken, like just
Right.
stop, relax, settle yourself, and go back out there. Like it's
exactly. But dude, that I'll tell you, it's a big difference. Like we all knew Mama's boys coming up.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
when I see people act like that towards the kids, like, oh my God, little Jimmy. It's like he's 4, he's limber, like he'll be fine.
yeah, nothing's broken. Let him go. You know,
Like,
dude, honestly,
he fell 3 feet. You know how like limber those kids are? It's like they're so resilient at that age.
yeah, their bones are basically rubber. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you, like one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got, and has got my one buddy has 5 kids, right? And he told me, like when I was having my daughter, he was telling me, he's like, look, one of the things you want to do, if your kid falls down, do not pick them up. You know what I mean? Because he was like, he's like, one, if they're really hurt, okay, yeah, obviously, right? If something's broken or whatever, yes. But if they just fall down, they got to get up themselves. You know what I mean? And honestly, best piece of advice I could get. And like, dude, like people
kids
like
don't hear enough these days, and they need to, because the real world sucks once they get into it, and they need that.
Dude,
they need to be told that at times. It's like, get ready.
Yeah.
Being a kid's awesome. You might as well enjoy it.
Yeah.